Hello everyone, this is Developuccino and we are on our first episode of the Developuccino podcast. So I'm Muktanshu, I'm an integrations engineer at Push Protocol. I also meddle with developer advocacy, try to be everything that surrounds DAOs, DeFi's and everything decentralized. And I've been in the space professionally for around 1.5 years. I've been in like knowledge of Web3 for around like 2 years now, and it's been a good ride. So we usually thought that me and Lakshay, we share the same college, so we usually thought that we should have a coffee and a conversation podcast regarding Web3. We will talk everything related to the space, everything that happens in the space, and maybe onboard many people with us because as we named this episode, Web3 is an ocean of opportunities. People are welcome, people are educated here, and people are taught about different things that they can pursue. This is like a whole space. So I'll move on to the next host and his introductions. Hey, Lakshay.
Hey everyone, I'm Lakshay and I work as an ambassador for Device Networks, which basically builds dynamic NFTs. And apart from that, I have been working as a smart contract developer, writing smart contracts and auditing smart contracts in Solidity basically for around a year now, I guess. And really excited to be here on the Developuccino podcast with Muktanshu. So yeah.
So yeah, pretty much that. The podcast will have episode that revolves around onboarding people, explaining the concept of Web3. How we'll move forward with it is basically today addressing how can you join Web3? What is Web3? What is its crux? What is like the introductory step you should take when you get into the space, and what were the problems or the experience that we faced or we encountered throughout our journeys.
So yeah, moving ahead, let's start. So what exactly is Web3 according to you, Muktanshu?
Yeah, so I have a very sugar-coated definition for this. I usually say that the human race has gone through like advancement through every endeavors that has been. So like we started with a wooden wheel and then we ended up with like tires which are tubeless right now. Same with the information technology. We started with Web 1 where they were just static websites. There were Papa John's Pizza where you can just see a menu online. And then we
Right.
move forward to ordering a Papa John's Pizza through online transactions. But the transaction remained redundant, in my opinion. And then comes the third generation of Web3, which introduces decentralization. With the modern society, as soon as the advancement in technology began, we also started being facing monitoration. So we have always been monitored throughout our every steps, every social medias. But Web3 is kind of a breath of fresh air when it comes to that. Everything is decentralized, and we are founded and bonded through the foundations of blockchain. This is more of an like integrations and develop point of view. What do you have in the technical bag, Lakshay?
So yeah, basically, there are many definitions floating about Web3 or the internet, and mostly they will deal with like Web3 is something that you build on blockchain or the blockchain technology and everything. But what I really wanna put out there is like what really excites me about Web3 is the number of use cases and the potential in the markets it has right now. Say like if you look into the NFT space, into the decentralized finance DeFi space, in the crypto space, it has massive potential, and people and the community as a whole is building so much stuff right now. There's a lot of things going on. So Web3, according to me, is a community of developers, builders building around applications over the blockchain network.
Yeah, I see the developer weight opinion coming from your side. Spoken like a true Solidity developer, Lakshay. What do you have next? What do we have next to discuss?
So, classic. How did you get into Web3?
Oh, an interesting story for me. So, I was a front-end engineer when I was in my first semester of college. I started with the whole HTML,
Mm-hmm.
CSS, React thing, the usual thing that you do to be a Web3 developer. And then I
Mm-hmm.
moved on to, announcing a 100 days of code challenge on Twitter. And like as I've guessed, if you go into Twitter and you create a Twitter profile and you get into like the like tech domain of Twitter, you usually get pushed two
Right.
things, which is AI or Web3. And I got pushed the latter one. Then I chose to search about it, like what is MetaMask. Like I was pushed MetaMask for some reason, and then I like chose
Mm.
to search about MetaMask. I created a MetaMask account, And then somehow I thought that there should be a career in this, and I started looking for interns. Ended up in EPNS. It was previously known as EPNS. Now it's called Push Protocol. Been there for
Uh-huh.
1.5 years. Rediscovered myself as an integrations engineer. So I've left front end for like around 2 years now. I'm doing integrations, specific Web3 integrations. Been talking about Web3. Been talking about governance. To like totally converted into a Web3 brat throughout my college. What about you,
Okay,
Lakshay?
so you started as a front-end developer, you joined EPNS as a front-end developer, and you transitioned into an integrations and developer relations.
Yeah, so
So
like that
the
usually
transition
happens
speed.
with us in Web3. If you see, we started out like as like very different things in the space. Like you can either start, you can be like a blockchain core blockchain engineer, you can end up as a
Yeah,
marketing intern for some form, because like
yeah.
the amount of opportunities and the amount of interesting opportunities there are in the space, they're like really different when it comes to like as when compared to Web 2 space, because Web 2 is
Mm,
somehow now when they are in the point of saturation, they are chasing niche. But in Web 3, you
mm,
get to discover your own niche. So I guess that's what like motivated me to join the space. Like I was tired of all the competitive codings and all the front end development and changing colors and changing UIs
mm.
all the day. Though I'm not dissing the front end developers here, but yeah, I chose to be in the Web 3 circle, and I ended up as like an integrations and a developer guy.
Definitely, that's real. I really like how everyone working in the Web3 space, either it's a marketing guy or anyone in the developer relations, has a tech background for sure.
Yeah. Like, what about you? You, or I guess, had a very core tech background, as per my knowledge.
So I started as a operating system developer,
Ah,
building
they are
on
like
the
very.
open source software, on the open source project from Google, that is AOSP.
Yeah.
So I was building operating systems for several phone devices, and I was pretty happy around that until I was introduced to trading, crypto trading. So that is how I basically entered the Web3 space, the blockchain space. I started crypto trading. Being from a technical background, I wanted to discover, wanted to know how these things work, how crypto coin works, what is blockchain, what is really a blockchain. So I started, building my own ERC20 tokens, I guess. In the first year, when the with the online semester, I was coding Solidity, building tokens randomly, and that is how I started, discovering blockchain and the technical sides of that. And gradually, I was, building, writing smart contracts and building my dApps as a hobby. Um, Enrolled in several courses such as Alchemy University, learned Web3 DAO, and all of that.
Yeah, talking about
And
courses, like the thing that like changed the course of time for me was like
mm,
just the pace of the space. Like we've been in this space for like you've been there for like 1 year professionally. I've been there
so
for around 2 years, like 2 years professionally. But
yeah,
we don't feel like it. We feel like like we've been in the space for quite some time, because like the learning curve is like
mm,
constantly like changing its boundaries. Like you can finish, you can not like even finish the technical part of things. You usually switch into like more
right.
niches, and every particular topic has a particular topic to be explored. So like right now when the field is like explorable a lot, I would really recommend
Mm,
the viewers watching this, if they are like new to Web3, if they are not the only guys that we suggested this video to, they can really explore how this field works, because this field has multiple layers to it. It's not just Bitcoin, it's not just Ethereum. It's a whole blockchain, and there are like competitive blockchains to it. It's EVM blockchains, non-EVM blockchains. Though we'll come that in a different episode maybe, but yeah, like the amount of knowledge and like the data circulated around the space, and even the money, because like people are there for the money part of things. What about you, Lakshay?
Also, I wanted to add, like, it's not really necessary if you are a purely technical guy. I did not see myself recording this podcast with you, creating content any time in my life. Uh, Being from a technical background, I always thought that I would be, coding all the time and all sort of that. But Web3 space did that to me. I'm, never expected I would be, talking to someone about Web3, creating podcasts, creating videos. But yeah, that's sort of the exposure you get here.
Yep. Like if you want exposure, you can get into Web3 and you will get the exposure that you want. You'll get different profiles you can apply to. You will end up as a web developer, and you should, like, you would have started as like a AI research intern or something. It's really different here, and it's really happening here. I would really like to say that. And now comes to our nostalgia stoppage, and we move on to Lakshay.
Okay,
Is
hit
there
me
a
with it.
future? The question of all the crises we face at midnight. Is there a future in Web3? Lakshay, what according to you?
Okay, so there's definitely future for Web3, and if you say if I see my future in Web3, I guess that be I'm very skeptical still about that. So if you're a student, you're in college, then if you talk to someone that should I go for Web3, should I explore Web3, should I be looking for jobs in Web3, or do I get in the traditional path? Do I go for the on-campus placements that are going on? So anyone would not recommend you to you know
Yeah,
choose Web3 as a career path right now,
yeah.
but they would advise you to go to
But yeah,
the
that's
traditional
that's
path.
that's the guys who are taking the like more taken roads, right? We are not the guys. We are not that guys. So like, I would really like to say that I have already had my eureka moment. Lakshay has like not yet decided, though I had my eureka moment around like 8 or 9 months ago. And that was like in the specific beer market, when there was like the market was crashing. I had my eureka moment that I wanted to be here. And because I was not here for the money, I was just here because I was exploring myself in different profiles. It's been like, it was like 1.5 year, and I have worked in like 3 or 4 different profiles. And though I was a developer, I always liked coding. But the person in me who wanted to get entertained with conversations, just like I'm getting
Hmm.
entertained right now, that choice was satisfied here. And not even that, like, I always think that once I see an opportunity, and once I like me and you went to Solana Hacker House in New Delhi, and then we saw the people, we saw the influence, we saw the thoughts that were circulating around, and I thought that, yeah,
Enthusiasm.
yeah, for now, for the optimism and for the future that I see with the idea of decentralization, or the idea of blockchain or Web3, I would be there. For me, it was like for Web3 1,000 times over. I'll be here. I'll be here for a long game.
Cool.
And yeah, talking about future of Web3, I don't think so. Like, I always say that there were gold coins in like medieval times, and there was a person who just said that now I'm printing paper, and you will like treat this as a gold coin. There were people who were
Hmm.
calling him stupid. There were people who were not accepting
Right.
the ideas. But eventually, what we are using, like, say, we are not using online transactions right now. We are using paper notes, paper currency.
Jokes on you.
Yeah, jokes literally on you. You are the person who changed gold coins to paper currency, and then you are not changing paper currency to online currency. Are you really that redundant? So yeah, pretty much that with the future topic. What have you got for us, Lakshay, next?
Okay, Web3
Oh,
is a career.
Web3 as a career. How I assume, like, we already talked about this as a future, but how as a
I
career
would
option? Because
really
like,
like to know your opinion about this, since you've been working for quite a long time, and we've been having our own personal conversations about that.
yeah,
So let's begin.
Web3 as a career. I'll start as what you'll have a career as a technical person or a non-tech person. So I'll mostly talk about the ecosystem. So there is an AI ecosystem, right? So there are people in specific marketing, business development, executive, even legal for AI specific firms. They are following
Yeah.
AI as a career, maybe in a different spectrum or a different ecosystem. But yeah, I treat Web3 as an ecosystem which has multiple profiles. Right now, the only opinion that I want to erase is Web3 is full of coders, Web3 is full of technical persons. There is nobody who will talk human to you. We are talking human to you guys. So yeah, Web3 as a career is mostly Web3 as an ecosystem, and it has many opportunities. Even in the bear market, where you see people getting laid off. People are getting laid off from everywhere. Then why don't try it as an opportunity? Because we're seeing the future of decentralization. We're seeing the future of Web3. We've seen like the venture capital is getting into with Y Combinator giving near protocol just funding because of their ideation, not even the single line of code, just because of the thorough idea of it.
Right.
I really think that this is a gamble that you can take because we really have that like simplicity in the mindset that we have to get the safer option, we have to get the marks, we have to get the good companies in the ecosystem. Why not try a different thing, man? Why be the part of the rat race? You can be the part of a different rat race here, which is Web3. You can try it as a career, and I recommend it as a career. After having a 2 years long career in this, I'm really happy with my career. What about you, Lakshay?
So I think it really depends, actually. There's no harm in saying that the Web 2 career in Web 2 is no longer as good as Web 3. There are certain jobs, certain profiles that that you would think that is better when it's in Web 2. But yeah, coming to Web 3 part, I guess I have been building things for now, and like a hobby. So I really enjoy building stuff, being decentralized on the Web3 space, and I think that is more of what I'm excited about. I like to build things as a hobby, and I think I haven't chosen a path yet,
Yeah.
but I think I will be looking forward.
I really like
In,
this like questionable mindset because like us just pushing Web3 would not have been good for this conversation. Me being the blunt guy who is just forcing you guys into Web3 and Lakshay being the confused guy here. I'm really liking how this conversation is going because like Lakshay is always like, Web2 is bad, but I am not sure that I want to go into Web3. And then I'm like, yeah, Web3 is a career option. Web3 has been a career option for quite some time. Yeah, but that's what like the core decentralization means. It's not contradictory. We both have opinions and we both can like express our opinions, and we are both like happy with it what we are doing in Web3, and we are still not sure what we'll have to do,
I think I would say like I have been building operating systems, which is a core Web 2 sort of thing,
which was a
and I
very
have
niche thing to do, Lakshay. Like I have met like two operating system engineers in my life, and one is you.
yeah, and then I started building things on Web 3. So and eventually I figured out that I enjoy both of them. So I really can't compare that. I would like to. I cannot compare the both of these things and say that I would like to invest myself fully over in Web 3 or in Web 2.
Okay,
It's really
so
an option.
Web3 as a career has been discussed. Web3's future has been discussed. What is Web3 has been discussed. What's next? How to
Let's see.
start in Web3?
How to
How to
start?
start in Web3? How would you say you started as a Solidity developer? Don't say that you were coding in C++ or OS and you ended up learning Solidity just simply.
No. So, like having been attending events and hackathons, I really see that the most typical path people are choosing is to start learning Solidity,
Yeah.
get into smart contracts, and eventually start auditing. I have been seeing people developing uh, you know, uh, things from they've been learning from Malcolm University. They've been learning from Build Space, which is a really good resource, by the way, and uh, building applications, projects, adding that to their CVs, uh, and that is how they get started
Yeah.
eventually
So
before they.
we have had this developer perspective from Lakshay. Now coming to how to start in Web3. I will just say start in Web3 by being a reader. That's the first advice. You'll have to be a reader. You'll have to be a listener to this podcast, but you'll have to be a reader first. You'll have to get to every core, like not even the core concept. You'll have to get to the introductory concept of it. What is Web3? Because it's not like generic upgrade. It's not a patch update for a generation of web. It's like a whole version upgrade for internet. So like you'll have to get into like reading, try getting like even I'll name some resources. You can go into the consensus glossary, you can go read my articles. This is like self advertisement here, but yeah, you can go read any articles that's related to web3, and you'll end up getting informed about the space. Then you play on your strengths. If like Lakshay was an operating system developer, he chose to be like, he could have chosen to be like a marketing guy, but a core blockchain developer and a blockchain's like smart contract developer would have been a real good transition job for him, because that's like more coding based, that's more logic based, and that's pretty much how like he could have easily transitioned. For me, I was a front end developer. I was like an open agent, but I ended up in like integrations, specific Web3 integration. So I had to play with both technical part of things and both like Web2 and Web3 part of things. So I got that like satisfaction out of it, because I was still doing some work in web3 but not like quite precisely. For like starting, just try reading everything about web3, then start playing on your strengths, start looking for how the opportunities are evolving for you, like what are the new profiles which are open in the space, what are the new interns that are pitched to you. And the first thing that you should know in the space is try pitching yourself. Discover a skill to pitch yourself. Like my first pitch for myself was, please, you can give me any tech stack and I'll code it within a one day, like one day. So I committed this. I It was just a blunt pitch to give, that I'll code any tech stack in one day. That was not possible. But the thing is that that shows the intent to learn. Intent to learn is the most
Hmm.
appreciated thing in the space. Would you agree with this, Lakshay? Like the intent to learn, because the amount of data is really vast.
Definitely, I think a lot of jobs floating around, they don't really see that about your past experience. They really wanna see how eager you are to learn and what's the pace you can go up to.
Yeah, like you had a web 3 web 2 background. I did not have like a very good professional web 2 background. The only thing that I had professionally in web 2 was creating websites for me, doing some freelance work, not a very like corporate specialized based work. It was really less like an introductory step towards web 2, because I was going to like through with the web 2 generic jobs, but then I ended up in web 3, so everything like went smoothly. But what I did was I started reading, because I have always been a reader. But if you are not, even if you are not, you'll start to you start to develop habit of like reading articles. You should start to develop a
Sure.
habit of like reading crunch content, because that content will help you out anyways. You'll have to pitch in front of people. Can easily like you can easily make a poker face, and you can say that I know about layer 2 solutions, and you cannot even know what is layer 1, because you have
Cool
that.
kids.
Yeah, like you have that reading claims, right? You have read so much that you can easily you can easily create a poker face and just say anything that you can prove with your like previous knowledge. So yeah, we've talked about how to start in web3, guys. This is how you start in web3. Just start with reading and then play on your strengths. This is pretty much the advice. Now what, Lakshay?
Moving on.
Oh, got any tips for me, Lakshay? Like, what should I do? I am a very beginner in Web3. It's just been 2 years for me. So, what would you say for a person like me? What are the tips that you should give?
For you, actually, you're the person that I go to tips for, actually.
Okay, okay. So, like
But
the gun has been pointed towards me, guys. Starter tips. I would really say Twitter. What about like Twitter? We all agree. Like, you should have a Web3 Twitter, right?
yeah, that's the homepage of my
Yeah,
mobile
guys,
phone.
guys, like
You always have Twitter on.
yeah, come see Twitter in Web3. It's a very different league when it's compared to like the arguments that you guys have in web like Twitter usually. We don't even get the suggestions of the argument that you guys have, because like Web3 Twitter is on a different role. Though Web3 like social medias are coming up, but still Web3 Twitter is something that you should necessarily have. The first step is to be on Twitter for Web3. So create a profile, create like good. You all should include like display picture, profile picture. That include like gives you a good profile look basically. I always go for that. I always create my custom display images and profile images. Other than that, I would really say, yeah, the same advice. Start reading a lot, create a habit of consuming content whenever you can. Then be open to any changes, be open to any rules, because this is a changing field. People are volatile. And Another tip, which is a very personal thing, please, if you're coming into Web3, the sense of security will somehow come around. It will not be at the start. So whenever you feel insecure about your job, it's a natural human response to be in a crisis situation when you have nothing to do. Just find something to do, and you will end up doing something in the space, or for the space, or just quitting the space, but you will eventually learn something. That's what we are here for, right, Akshay?
Well, honestly, I would say that initially you shouldn't see Web3 as a full-time career opportunity. You should try exploring Web3 as a hobby. That is what I did. I never expected to be working for any big corp in Web3 or anything. I just started building my stuff as a hobby. I
Big
just
corp,
wanted to
big
explore.
corp. You like told the taboo word. Is there, are there corporations in Web3? Actually, I called it. So
Okay,
yeah,
so
like another tip for you guys. There are some taboo words in Web3. Privacy is one of them. So don't be like really open with your privacy. You should have to be a very, uh, I would say, paranoid when it comes to Web3, because it's like it's transaction based. It's you have your Ethereum in your wallet. You should be very concerned about your privacy. People get scammed because they are too dumb to be like a private person. I usually say that, though that's a very bad opinion to have, but that's a very blunt opinion also. Sometimes when you say blunt things to a person, that's easily enters his mind. Like the introspection process is faster when you are too blunt with your thoughts. I like opinionate myself like that.
I have your MetaMask seed phrase, by the way.
Yeah. I know. I accidentally send you. That's why I'm changing all my like wallets now. Guys, don't trust your roommates. Don't trust your friends. They can easily integrate like their they can easily take every asset that you have in your wallet and then claim that they are Muktanshu Mishra because of privacy in Web3, because of the concept of being incognito in Web3. There is a possibility of that. So yeah, be vigilant, be informative about the space. Don't lose hope. You'll get educated anyhow, being in Web3, being in not. Be social, be interactive. Try to build connections. Don't be an introvert, and if you are introvert, find an extrovert friend who will force you to be in a podcast with him, right, Rakshay?
Definitely disagree.
Okay. So you're disagreeing with that, but you are agreeing that we should move on to the next slide, right?
Okay, so let's see. Must
Must
do's
do's in
in
the
the
space.
space.
Pretty much the same
What
type
about
of
you
tips, right?
guys?
Like must do's in the space, hard work. I would say that's a must do in life, though. But yeah, uh, I would say that you should try and not going for big names, because there are no big names in Web3. I would really say try going for starter projects, because the load that you have in your starter projects is lesser than the responsibilities that you will have in a properly mature project. Like I matured with the firm I'm working in. Like the firm was maturing and I was maturing. I was seeing myself getting into the corporate race and enjoying it somehow. I was not
Right.
feeling lost in the race. So the must do's in the space is choose the right project for you. Choose the project which excites you. Like for Lakshay, it's usually NFTs. Lakshay tries to get into NFTs because he likes it. For me, I try to get into integrations which are for DAOs for somehow. Like that's my niche. I usually chase DAOs as an integration because I'm the person who is always talking about DAOs. If you follow this podcast, you will follow next episodes. You'll see myself like integrating DAOs in every other conversation, because that's what I like. So yeah, must do in space. Be an extrovert. Please be an extrovert. If you are not an extrovert, I would really say try getting into core blockchain development then, right, Lakshay? Because like every other field demands an extrovert. Other than that, maintain a good social identity, maintain a good learning curve, maintain your hard work percentage. Other than that, everything goes good with the space, right, Lakshay?
Right. So I would say, actually adding to your thoughts, I would say, as Muktanshu mentioned, get on Twitter, read content, share memes, and I think Web3 is nothing but just a very huge and friendly community. Go out, socialize in the meetups happening, the hackathons happening, participate in hackathons, meet new hackers, meet builders, meet other people from different colleges that have been that are participating in hackathons, share ideas with them, and yeah, that's just how you get
Yeah,
started.
though that sounds like a very busy schedule for you, Lakshay. But the thing is that, guys, whenever we ask that why are we following such busy schedules with being college students, because that's what we like. We like being busy with Web3. We like being doing stuff with Web3, and we usually like even if we are not doing anything, we started recording like podcasts for Web3 because that's what we are like designing ourselves to be. It's not that we don't have social lives. We have social lives in metaverse, maybe.
Okay, self harm. Let's
Yeah.
move to the next step.
Okay, we are constantly changing the topic of self harms when it comes to metaverse. Nice. So what's next? What's next is basically not for you guys. You have been warned enough with your content. You should have to follow the previous tips. What next for this podcast? Uh, what about you, Lakshay? What would you want to discuss? What you see this podcast evolving as?
So podcast maybe hovering over topics such as the specific use cases of blockchain, maybe DAOs, NFTs, diving deep into them, or it's gonna be technical podcasts somehow, digging into solidity or smart contracts.
Yeah,
What do
so
you think?
pretty much will revolve around soft content, which is like non-technical content and technical content. We have like been in a brainstorming process, and we came up with an idea that this conversations will always be candid. I'm really expressive when it comes to people I follow. I follow Nadia Debit, I follow Patrick Collins, I follow the Bankless Weekly Roll-up, and I really like how Ryan Shorad is when they project themselves. We are really trying to be that guys. I'm really saying that in the first only episode. We're trying to be the candid guys who talk about Web3 and makes you realize that Web3 is not that technical. Web3 is not that geeky. You can have this as a normal
Right.
conversation. You can like easily. That's why the name of the podcast is Developuccino. You can easily have development talks while having your coffee. That's how easy it is. So yeah, that's pretty much with the future. And any ending remarks with you, Lakshay? Like, how was this podcast for you as an introvert, and how was I as a host for you?
But I would not say that it sucked.
Oh,
It was
very
difficult,
appreciative remarks. It did not suck. Yeah, good
it
conclusion.
was a good start, actually.
Yeah, like we could suck. We could really suck with this podcast. Like, it will be like known when it comes to Web3. I don't know what will happen, how this will be received, but yeah, I don't actually care how this is received. We are just documenting how we were when we were 20 years old, and we were just working in Web3. We were working our asses off, and we were just having conversation about what we work about. So yeah, this is pretty much that, and there'll be more coming up, guys. If you are seeing this on YouTube, or if you just passed on this link as a friend to see this video just for a checkup, here again, we'll be here once again. We'll be here with different videos, maybe short videos. I'll try getting this introvert guy making YouTube shorts. I really want this thing to happen with him. He would cover Web3 news. I'm ensuring that with you guys, this Solidity developer will somehow cover Web3 news in the week. We'll be the devrels for you guys. We'll be the friends for you guys. We'll be the senior if you want. And yeah,
Okay,
pretty much for me. Signing off, guys. Bye. Have a great day.
see you.